Welcome, class. I'm glad you made it. Finally, you've arrived. I assume that most of you are part of the Alphabet Mafia, and I welcome you. Today we are going to discuss the intricacies of all lesbian terms that we have. So please, get comfortable and enjoy. Before we indulge, this is a disclaimer. I am not a professional in any way, and these are all very much not to be taken seriously. But they are by many of us, which is a problem. And that's exactly why we're making this video. Let's dive right in, shall we? The first term we have is masc, or masculine, and its counterpart, femme or feminine, both in which do not correlate with gender. They are its own entity. Therefore, I describe myself as a masculine lesbian. But as we all know, the heteronormative world does not understand this, and therefore see us as a joke. I laugh to them, because we really understand the bigger reason as to why they hate us so much. STEM. STEM is the middle part to those two. It is someone who identifies as both. And that counterpart can also be a switch. Even though those two do not directly correlate, they are both very similar. Some would argue that they hold the most power because they obtain both characteristics into one person. And switches switch back and forth. One day they could be feminine, the other day they could be masculine. You never know. Some would find this very appeasing, and some not so much. Yes. Now, stud is a term that was developed specifically for black masculine lesbians. Now, inclusive terms become very complicated and make people emotional, when in reality, let people have what they want to have. It just needs to be what it is. Let it go. You have your term. Let them have theirs. Moving on. Yes. Queer. We all know this term is very vague, but that is the beauty within it. We are all queer, and we are all here. Some actually prefer just using that title, and that is okay. Moving on. Now, according to the accurate database of Twitter, now we all know this form of social media has its own facts and terminologies, because it lives and exists purely in its own world. And because of that, people take it very seriously. The terms butch and dyke have been debated on these forums for centuries. Therefore, the value should be taken down, like most of these terms, but that's not the story. They're both masculine of center, and they both represent lesbians. Now, the picture that pops in your mind when you hear either term is purely biased. So please, let's proceed. Still in the umbrella of the masculine of centers, we cannot forget about boy. Not B-O-I, but B-O-I. As in, I'm with my boys. We are out having a boys' night. Because we all know boys can be boys. But us boys can be boys. And we like to. Let us have our name. Coming out, but still staying within this umbrella. There's also terms soft butch and chapstick lesbian. Now, do I think these terms are ridiculous? Absolutely. But according to the text, these do exist, and people do use these. These are the type of lesbians that have a soft heart, but a rather harder exterior, where masculine attributes are expressed, but feminine ones are within. Now, we can't forget its counterpart, the lipstick lesbian. These are the feminine women that are feminine. Emotions cannot be higher. Drama cannot be more intense, but their hearts are big, and they are very passionate about how they look and what they do. These are the types that literally define straight and passing. You would never know they are here for the cooch. And that, my friends, is a W for us. Now, similar but not related to are pillow princesses, where those who have an acquired taste are welcome here. These are the types that do not do much in bed. They are, in fact, laying on that pillow. And how can we forget the touch-me-nots? These are the type of lesbians who prefer not to be touched down there at all. If that is not your cup of tea, that is your thing. But just know, from someone who is not, you are missing out on some exquisite times. Yes, lesbian bed death. We all know this is very tragic. Now, not to say this is every couple, but many couples experience this tragic time where they are unable to get each other off or have the motivation to do the do in bed. Their hearts and their vaginas are not in it. Therefore, they struggle to get each other off and achieve those times like they did when they were younger. Tragic. This one is new for me as well. Clitorference is the heterosexual counterpart of cock blocking, where a female counterpart is clearly blocking what is wanted between two women. They are doing the most and not letting the beauty of the action happen. Don't be one of these people. Let's move on. Yes, strap game. We all know this is a bragging right to us lesbians. Now, to put this in a sentence, her strap game was 100. Meaning the woman's toy that is literally strapped to her pelvis is so good, it makes me orgasm over and over. She knows what she is doing. It is a part of her. That game is 100. And we all know the backpack is a big one. Also, to put this in a sentence, if a lesbian asks you, did you bring the backpack? As the teens say, you already know what is about to go down. We all know as lesbians it's very complicated to simply arrive strapped. You must bring it as an accessory in a compartment that is not very obvious, only to those between the two parties. Therefore, the backpack is important. Staying in the bed terms, an outdated term is gold star and can be seen as offensive, so we try to refrain from using this term. You are a gold star where you as a lesbian have never had sex with a male counterpart. Therefore, you are pure, you are a gold star. And you can see why this term can be seen as it is. Now, there are some stronger terms that lesbians like to use. Power bottoms. Now, power bottoms have a very dominant personality, but they will still very much let you dominate them. It seems conflicting and confusing, and is in fact very sexy to some. And of course, we cannot forget lesbian time. What is lesbian time, you may ask? It is the average pace of heterosexuals, but sped up 3 times. So sex does not last 5 minutes. Sex lasts when the sun comes up the next morning, and you don't understand what happened. You are perplexed, confused, bewildered. Lesbian time shows no bounds. 1 day of talking equals a week. 1 week of talking equals a month. 1 month of talking equals 3. And 3 months of talking equals a year. A year of dating equals marriage. Therefore, the next term U-Haul comes into place. This is not to specify the actual company itself, but rather the act of moving in very quickly. Because like we just established, 1 year equals marriage. And we all know moving in is much sooner than that. And renting a U-Haul is very common because lesbians have lots of stuff. 2 women, lots of things. Now, especially if you are in LA County or anything like it, you know the term celesbian or dicon. They literally combine the words celebrity and lesbian, or dyke and icon, using it in a sentence. I know the celesbian you are describing. She is very well known on the internet. These lesbians are known for doing the most, and are talked about greatly within the community. Now, most of us know a lesbian. Lesbians are those who say they are a lesbian, but are in fact not completely so. They are very intrigued by the female presence, and may in fact dwell in it, but they will never dedicate themselves enough to the title of lesbian, or anything within the umbrella of the alphabet mafia. They are, in fact, curious, scared, and borderline crazy half the time. As we move forward, the terms get more ridiculous, as you can tell. Hate it here. Heteroflexible is known as mostly straight. These are the types that have minimal homosexual activity and an otherwise primarily heterosexual orientation. Herzband. These are life partners in a committed lesbian relationship. They are the more masculine or handy type. AKA, don't use this term, just call them what they are. Okay. 100-footer. These are when you can tell from 100 feet away that that person is a lesbian. Also known as a gaydar, where you can tell someone is in fact of you. Their aurora is giving gay vibes. Bun lesbians have become a thing. If this is not obvious already, they have a bun. They are a lesbian. I can't, okay. As you can see, these terms have gotten very complex and continue to grow, which is great in some areas, but in many areas, I don't approve. Coming from my opinion, I feel like they're very stupid. I feel like a lot of these terms don't need to exist, and I feel like we overdo it in our community. And not to bash anybody, not to downplay our own community, I feel like the more we do this, the more people laugh at us because of the complexities. The fact that I had to make this goddamn video. In all realness, don't take my terms very seriously, and don't take this video too seriously. It's all jokes, it's all fun. If you guys actually use these terms on a daily basis, that's interesting. Let's be open-minded because that's the community we should be. And let's just have fun. We're women who love women. We're all here to just enjoy the same place on this earth. And to be accepted for who we are, truly and honestly. And I think that's the most important thing. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. And please, enjoy yourselves completely.